Hey, next up, let's take a peek at the steering wheel. So starting off on our bottom left-hand side, we've got the ability to either increase or decrease the audio. We can completely mute. This is going to be our cruise control setting. So this is the regular cruise control system. It's not the adaptive cruise control. So turning the cruise control on, we're just going to press that button. As you can see, set's turned on there, which means that we know that the system's activated. Once we're at the speed that we're like, we're either going to lift this up or down, and that's going to set us at our current speed. From there, we can either increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. If we hit the brake, that's going to turn the system off temporarily. We would just hit this reset button to bring us back up to the speed we were set at, or we can completely cancel it out from there. And we've got the ability to turn the system off again. Okay, now off to the right-hand side. So a couple things to point out. We've got our menu button, our up and down button, which is going to let us change a few things out. And then we've also got our back button. So in order to be able to reset the trip counter, all we're going to do is press and hold the OK button, and that's going to reset the values for us. So very straightforward in order to be able to do that. Now we've also got a series of different screens, and those are going to give us individual settings for each screen. So we're going to start off, let's go with our trip counter. If we press the menu button, that's going to pull up a few options. So we can look between trip 1, trip 2, or we can reset or configure the view. Scrolling down, we've now got My View, which again, same thing. We can look at the My View, so whatever shows up on that screen. So again, matter of personal preference, what actually shows up. And moving down another screen, we've got the driver assistance settings. So driver assistance settings, that's going to be our lane keeping system. Whether that's on or off is going to depend on this. So we've got a button just on the very end of the tip here. So that's going to be our lane keeping system. So as we can see, our lane keeping system, whether that's on or off, is going to depend on whether or not we've got that button selected. So as you can see, the system's now turned on. So the lane centering system is essentially the one that's going to pull us back into our lane if we start to veer over without signaling. Moving down, now we've got the ability to look at our audio sources, so we can select different sources. There are obviously no sources that are active right now because the system is off. So turning it back on, we've got, as you can see, some text that's showing up. And moving up, actually, let's go into our basic settings. So that's going to let us change between either AM, FM, Sirius XM, or if our phone was connected, we could look between our different settings. Moving down, if our phone was connected, it would show up. Basic information for the vehicle, so seatbelts, are the seatbelts on, yes or no? Auto start stop, so we've got the button that's in the center console screen. We've also got the ability to look at whether it's operational or not. Driver alert, so that one's tied into that other center screen setting that we were looking at. So if we get too many alerts, it's essentially going to add the bars up as we go. Once we get to too many lane keeping warnings in a short period of time, it's going to let us know that we should probably rest. Intelligent all-wheel drive, we can see which wheel is active. As I mentioned, this one is the all-wheel drive. There also is a front-wheel drive version of the vehicle. Now, the intelligent all-wheel drive is essentially all-wheel drive on the fly, so it's automatically going to put power to the tires just depending on what the vehicle feels like it needs. And we've got the My Key info, so we've got the ability, as I mentioned, to set up the My Key. That would be done through the center instrument, the center screen, so using this screen to set that My Key up. Tire pressure, which shows the active tire pressure for the vehicle. And lastly is going to be our oil life reset. So when we get an oil change, we can do that reset using that button. And moving down, so that's going to be that basic instrument cluster there. Off to our right-hand side, we've got the ability to select how much windshield wiper fluid comes out. We can turn our windshield wipers on or off by using this stick. And on the very end of this one, this little guy is going to turn on our rear windshield wiper. Last one is going to be our left stick. We pull that in order to turn the high beams on, flip away to turn them on as well.